Now we're cozy. If you're not, get a little cozy with me.
3, 2, 1.
Today I will be talking about journaling. This was a request from one of my book club members. Shout out to you. They requested that I talk about journaling, how I journal. These are my journals. I have one more that I'm currently writing in that I did not bring because my brain doesn't work that well. I saw it before I sat down and I was like, oh, I need to remember to grab that and add it to my stack. But then I didn't, and I sat down and I'm filming now, and I don't think it's worth it for me to get up and go back for one journal. I started journaling in June of 2014. I still journal now. I would say the frequency in which I journal has changed. I feel like my journaling frequency has gone through phases of, there were times in my life where I would journal every day. There are times in my life where I journaled maybe once a month. Now I try to journal once a week. It's not a hard and fast rule. It's not like it's been 1 week since my last journal, I have to journal. It's more of like on a weekly basis, I'm just like, I have things that I just don't want living in my head anymore, so I'm gonna put them out on paper. I feel like some people that are more organized than I am have like one cohesive stack of journals. They always buy like the Moleskine black journal, so all of their journals are cohesive. My friends know that I like to journal, so they just buy me random journals, hence why all of these are different. Some of these I got for free, some of these I bought myself, some of these my friends gave me. Journaling has been something that I have done for quite a bit now. I feel like it's a good way to just like get your feelings and your thoughts out. I feel like when I started journaling, I didn't really have a rhyme or reason as to why I started journaling. I just feel like I had a lot of thoughts, so I was like, I just need to get them out. Now I journal similar reasons, but it's more of I want to, one, remember fun moments or thoughts that I have. And I feel like now a lot of times is like I am stressed or I have a lot of things just flowing through my mind that I just need to sit down and get them out, because I feel like once you get them out on paper, it mellows your mind a little bit. Like I said, I'm not the type to be like, I have to journal every day or I have to journal once a week. I tried to do that and I was just like, by the end of it, I just felt like I was wearing myself out and this was another item on my to-do list. But I wanted it to be like, I want to journal. Like I'm craving a journal session where I can just put some music on, write anything that I want. They range from like, here's what I did today or here's what I'm doing, to like stories or like creative outlets. And it just depends on my mood. I feel like when I was starting out, I answered a lot more like deep reflective questions than I do now, because I feel like right now my emotional capacity is pretty low. So it's like I can't bring myself to question what the meaning of life is. Back in the day in high school, when I thought that I knew everything, I was like, here is what the meaning of life is. And now I read back at those and I'm like, girl, you had so much to learn. You know nothing. If you're like, oh, I feel like I want to journal, but I just don't know how, or like there's something holding you back from it, I would just say, try it. Get like a small one and just try it a couple of times. Like whether that's every day for a couple of days or once a week or once a month. I feel like when you are feeling stressed, or you're like, I had a really good day, or I thought of this line, or this lyric really spoke to me, just write it down. Hey self, in whenever you read this next, I thought of this, or I am doing this, or like whatever it is that sparked your interest or your inspiration, just write it down. So an example of this, in Vance Joy's Mess Is Mine, he has a lyric that says, when you think of love, do you think of pain? And in this journal, I believe, is when I was like, when I think of love, do I think of pain? And I answered that question. I feel like half of my journals are, here's what I did today, or here's what I did yesterday, or here's what's going on in my life. And then it moves on to like either deeper stuff where it's like I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, or it honestly just stays pretty surface level of like, hey, this annoyed me, thanks for being here. It's just a good way to de-stress. My journaling routine is I sit down on my bed, typically in the dark, not completely dark, because obviously if it's completely dark I cannot write, but like I turn on my little bedside lamp. My favorite pens recently, by recently I mean like within the past couple of years, are Muji pens, and specifically these ones. This one is a 0.5, but if I had a preference, I would write with a 0.38. If you're a Muji fan, you know the joy of these pens. If you're not a Muji fan, or if you've never tried a Muji pen, would definitely recommend it. These are my favorite brand of daily use pens. Very nice, very smooth. 0.5 or 0.38 are recommended for me. If you write 0.7, I may judge you, but I get it. It's the most common. If you write with anything bigger than a 0.7, I'm definitely judging you. Just kidding. We don't judge people on the type of stationery they use, but if I do see someone with Muji I will know they have taste. Who knew that you could weave green and red flags into stationery? I'm gonna keep this pretty high level-ish. I love journaling so much. I literally am like, I could do a series of videos, and I probably will. Another reason why I like to journal is because it really helps in remembering not only like what you did certain days or like how you were feeling certain days. You could look back at your journals and kind of see where your mind was at that specific point. I read some of my first journal entries and I was like, dang, dude, I really was not happy with myself. I was not happy with my life. I could tell how insecure I was. Context, when I started journaling, I was probably like early high school years. I feel like everyone in their early high school years, they're self-conscious, they're insecure, but you can really see the amount of growth. Part of the reason why I was inspired to film this outside of the request is the fact that I went to a cafe recently that was the first cafe I've ever been to alone, because my brain works in mysterious ways. I remember that day exactly, and I remembered exactly what journal I was writing in, and I knew that it was this red one right here. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to that cafe again. I'm gonna bring this red journal. I'm going to bring the current journal that I write in. I'm gonna read the entry that I wrote the first time I was there and just like see where my mind was at. And then I read some of the entries around it, and that's when I figured out, I was like, dude, I was really just unhappy in high school. I really just like saw the growth in my mentality. And I feel like that's kind of fun, right? Like you can see how you thought previously, you can see how much you've grown. These journals are my stream of consciousness journals. I have a bullet journal is basically just like highlight reel in a sense of my bullet journal is basically just like, here's month to month what's happening. Now I have a running journal because I feel like that's something that I should start keeping because I'm training for my half marathon, and I just feel like it's good for me to track mentally and physically how I thought I was doing. I would say around 50% of my journals have been here's what I did today, or here's what I did this past like X amount of days, or here's currently what is happening in my life. And maybe like 30% that's reflective. Like I am answering a deep question or a question that I thought. 10% that's like creative writing of like, here's a story that I thought of. And then another 10% that's just like, who knows, genuinely random things that pop into my brain. In my next video, I plan to do a tour of my journals, which is why I'm not going really in depth each journal and each year, because I will do that in a future video. I just love journaling. I'm a big journaling advocate. If you're trying to get into journaling, or if you want to journal and you're just like, I honestly don't know what to write about, or I don't really have it in me, start with something small. Like literally, write a sentence. Grab a random notebook that you see. You don't have to buy a new journal. You could literally just grab like a spiral notebook that you've had since school or whatever and just write one sentence. Every so often, I start my journal off with, I don't know what to write about, but I feel like I should be writing. That's okay. This is for you. Leave it all on the table. Your journals are for you. They're for your benefit. Probably no one's gonna read them. I can't make that promise to you, but likely, hopefully, if you're surrounded by people that don't invade your privacy, no one else is gonna read this but you. I feel like it's also cathartic to just see your writing on paper. If you're trying to get into journaling and you're just like, dude, what do I even write about? Literally anything. Literally anything. Like you could just say like, my favorite color right now is green. Nice. That's it. That could be your whole entry. So like, for example, if I were to start with that sentence, like my favorite color is green, you could change into like, my favorite color used to be blue. And before that, it used to be purple. Who cares? You know? People, I feel like, journal for different reasons. Like some people journal to get inspiration. I journal, decompress. Here are some prompts. I'll start with like some surface level intro questions. If you want to write your first journal entry, what did you do today? How are you feeling? How are you really feeling? What are you excited about? What are you nervous about? What's your favorite color and why? What's your favorite food right now? Why do you want to start journaling? If you want to answer some deeper questions, you could start with like, who are the 3 closest people to me in my life and why? If I could write a letter to my past self, what would I say? If I could write a letter to my future self, what would I say? Like I mentioned in my New Year's Eve vlog, I do like letter to my future self type thing every so often. That's a little fun because like in the future you can come back and read it and be like, wow, here's a little thing from me to me. It's like finding some money in your pocket, you know, it's a gift from yourself. Some other prompts, what does happiness look like to you? What's your ideal meet cute? If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be? What's your favorite thing about yourself? There is no right or wrong way to journal. Don't put any pressure or expectations on yourself if you're trying to get into journaling. If you want to do that journal every day thing, more power to you. But a lot of times that I've been like, I want to journal this many times a week, or like I was putting too much expectation on myself and like all my journals were kind of flat. But like when I am like, oh, it's been a really fun day, I want to remember this in a couple of years, it's more inspired. I just like go back and read some of my old journals and I'm just like, I remember this day, I remember this scenario, or I remember the situation, and it brings me joy, or it brings me back to the feeling that I was feeling in that moment. And a lot of times it's literally like the smallest things that I would write about. Like, I guess this is like a preview of what my tour of my journals video is going to be like. But one of my journal entries was literally just like I read this recently, which is why I know this. For my first journal, this was in high school when my brother would drive me to school, or my parents would drive me to school, and I didn't have my license yet, but it would be like,
I was so stressed this morning. Like, I woke up late and my brother wasn't home, so he couldn't drive me. So I ran up to my parents' room and I was just like, I need to go to school. I am late. Why is no one else awake? And then the moment I got to my parents' door, I was like, it's Saturday. There's no school today.
I can distinctly remember that moment where I was like, yeah, I'm an idiot. My parents were like, you do realize it's Saturday? And I'm like, yes. I know that after literally running out of bed and running to your room. It's a little late for that. And it's just like things like that where you can go back and read and just be like, wow, I was such an idiot. I am still an idiot, but like in a different way. That was a lot of rambling about journaling. I hope this video helped you if you want to get into journaling. I hope this video inspired you maybe. Big advocate for journaling. If you have any questions, or if you journal and you want to leave some tips or some prompts that you've thought of or that you enjoyed below, I'm sure other people would love to read it. I would love to read it. I will do a tour of my journals in the future. But for now, that's all you're getting. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe if you want to see my tour of my journals and really get into the depths of my brain cells. If you have any other things that you want to see regarding journaling, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I might do them, I might not. Make no promises on this channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye! Can I English? The type of, oh my god, what are these called? My brain literally is not working. It's not a toiletry, it's stationery, that's the word. Toiletry.